Jazi and I live in the 7th Ward. When it rains really hard on my block, we experience a lot of standing water. We have areas that were repaved over right after Katrina that were intended to be areas where water could flow to, or they once had a drainage ditch there they're paved over now. So very quickly we get standing water, and it kind of takes a little bit before it drains down. Other than that, when it rains, in the areas where it's not pavement, we get the mix of mud, slurry, things like that, just kind of a mix of things going on. When we get really intense rainstorms, I haven't experienced any property damage as yet. My yard and the other yards, they get pretty filled up, but never high enough for it to come into the property, damage anything. There have been a few times during flash floods where we all just kind of made the decision to go move our cars to the neutral ground, because at that point then there was going to be damage to vehicles. So that's happened a couple of times. The impact to physical and mental health is kind of, really having to be conscious every time it rains that, you can be having a regular day and at any moment it can really change. So there's kind of that cloud over you as a resident of the city, I think, but definitely in this neighborhood, because the water can get high pretty fast. I learned about WaterWise through I love it. It's like the most organic way of meeting someone possible. A flyer was stuck in my door when I came back home one day. And I was like, okay, I have no idea what this is, but I saw that the meeting was going to be at St Augustine, which is right down the block from me. So it was close. I was curious. At that time, a new resident of the city was very interested in, okay, yeah, what are people doing about water here in the city? So it was good to be able to walk down the street, my baby in tow. We walked down, we went to the first meeting, and that's how I learned about WaterWise. The engagement at the first workshop was really my first time considering that green infrastructure could be something that could be used on a residential property. Or also the other thing I learned was that there were things that I knew about, like rain barrels and stuff like that, that were a good part of like helping to solve the issue of water. So it was just like taking some things I already knew, again, new considerations about French drains and rain gardens and other things that we have the ability to do on our properties that can help. That was my first time really kind of like thinking seriously about, okay, well, what if that's possible, what can I do on my property that would help a little bit? I have this green infrastructure project installed in 2019. It's kind of twofold. It's a French drain, taking the huge amounts of water that come from my roof into a rain garden, which has some local flora and fauna there that help to soak up the water. Before having this project installed, the standing water on my side of the street was much worse. And just on my property in general. Again, the area where we started the French drain was an area that water would pool, just because a lot of fast water coming down in one spot. There was a lot of erosion right there. So it made the perfect spot to start the French drain. And as a result, my yard remains it doesn't flood. And all the water drains to the rain garden, which makes it really pretty. On the street though, again on this side, we need a lot more help, and I think more green infrastructure on this street in particular, because we got a lot of different issues. But I don't experience as much standing water on this side. My driveway used to make a pool at the end, backing out during rainstorms. It kind of started to rut, but I experience that a lot less now that the project's installed, and I've enjoyed that for a few years now. So I think we can continue to scale up green infrastructure in my neighborhood. Projects like this are a start. I can tell you, I have families on this block that have been here, in this neighborhood for 60, 70 years, that hadn't considered doing anything besides their green front yards and, just having it look how it looks. So it's definitely opened up some conversations. That first piece is just that, being able to see green infrastructure in your own environment, and then getting to learn about it. And like I said, I have neighbors that are going to be getting work done soon. So I think that's how it goes. Just one person starting it, being able to talk to people about what green infrastructure is and getting people to think about, okay, if it's helping you or they just like how it looks aesthetically, considering doing it for their property. So I think that's how we do it. I think one of the ways we can work together to address flooding in the city is to just keep talking about it. I think a lot of people can be a little bit resolved in that, this is just how it is where we live and there's kind of nothing we can do about it. And we kind of all get caught up in, the stories and the complaints about what's going on, but it's been in conversations with other people that are working around water and working with addressing issues with stormwater that I've learned there are actually a lot of things that we can do. And I think that's empowering, like for people to just know information and know that you do have a little bit more control than you think, or you have more options than you think you do to be able to impact not just your property, but all that we're experiencing here. So just more conversations, more talking to people, letting people know there are people doing things that can help with this, and you can join in, or you can have someone come on your property and take a look and see what can be done. And yeah, I think that's what we can do.